If all we want students to do is know stuff, then my robot intern here would suffice to replace me.
I just taught you new information. I will now test your memory and comprehension. What is acid? What is bacteria?
An acid neutralizes a base.
Bacteria is a very small organism with no nucleus. Good. We know things. I will now give more information.
As you can see, just giving information and having students recite it back is not the best approach for students if we want them to actually think. Here are a few tips on preparing higher level questions so that students can think about and manipulate the information they receive. Check it out. So let's look at higher level questioning. We want to look at our overview, provide levels of questioning, look at the untapped levels, look at a process for questioning, and focus on the keys to remember. So I utilized Bloom's taxonomy to create this presentation. So all the prompts and stems are extracted from the 2001 revised version. The key revisions from 2001 are that synthesis is now with creating and evaluation is aligned with evaluating. In previous versions, that was not the case. Both the original Bloom's taxonomy and the revised version are listed under this video as PDFs for your resource purposes. So when we look at the revised version, each one is a breakdown of the 6 question levels. I'm not going to go through all 6 slides, but I want to peruse the format for you. They give you the title, remembering and knowledge. They give you what the teacher should do, and they provide you with the list of question prompts. This is not an exhaustive list. You can create your own as you see fit. Again, there are 6 of these slides representing the 6 levels of the questioning process, with creating being the highest level. We have understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Now, to get to the heart of it, through observation and through experience, we want to look at the typical usage. Remembering and understanding are the most commonly used levels of questioning. We want to know, do the students know the information? Applying and application are also used frequently, but they're used erroneously because they're usually used as the highest level of student understanding. Can they apply what they know? If they can apply it, we're ready to move on, which is actually leaving out 3 other levels that we haven't even touched on. The less frequently used are analyzing, evaluating, and creating. My opinion is that these last 3 levels are not used as frequently because they require a higher level of grading and analysis on the part of the instructor, whether it's in creating the stems or in grading the student responses. It's not as simple as right and wrong, yes and no. So how do we help first and second year teachers ensure that they're infusing the multiple levels of questioning and progressing students to a higher level of thinking? Well, this template was designed by us utilizing the stems from the revised version. So the stems themselves are not ours, but the template is. So we look at the progression of a typical lesson plan. We have warm-up, whole group, independent practice, and assessment. What we look at is utilizing remembering and understanding in the warm-up, utilizing remembering, understanding, and applying through the whole group, then utilizing applying, analyzing, and evaluating during the independent practice, as well as creating in some of the independent practice, and then only utilizing, evaluating, and creating in the assessment portions. And if you look at this is a logical progression from the beginning of the lesson to the end of the lesson, where students can ensure that they are being asked higher level questions. The teacher is planning to infuse these questions into their lesson plan. These specific stems are just examples. You can infuse any stems that you see fit, but the key is remembering which levels you want to incorporate at the different stages of your actual lesson planning. This is imperative because as the teacher becomes more of a master teacher, they can jump around, they can jump from remembering to creating or only focus on applying and so forth. But to ensure that first and second year teachers are incorporating higher order questioning in all of their lesson plans, this type of template can simply guide them through ensuring that those questions are present at all times. So some keys to remember. You have to plan to ask questions. When you don't, you tend to remain at the first two levels, basic comprehension and knowledge regurgitation. We want to progress to higher levels, as we saw in the template. We want to go from understanding to being able to create something with that information that we now have. Use your resources, the 2 PDFs present, the template, and any other resources you can find on developing higher order questions. You have to know your content. You have to know your content in order to create rubrics and questions that foster higher order thinking among your students. Build your question pools. There are multiple stems for each level, and like I said, those stems are not exhaustive. It's not an exhaustive list, so you can create as many questions as you want for your particular content area, as well as for the particular one of the 6 levels of higher order thinking. Last but not least, don't be afraid to ask students to generate questions too that you can later pick through to see if they fit and they're conducive to adding to your pool. This is higher order questioning in a nutshell. We hope these tips help you get started. According to G.I. Joe, knowing is only half the battle. Let's work to prepare our kids to think for themselves, not just recite information. Please feel free to join the discussion and leave your comments below. See you next time.